While we're waiting, Your Honor, may I just mark a few items? I have a screenshot that goes with that.
From what I see.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay.
Your Honor, could you please just need 1 moment, please? Thank you.
In there, it's down there. It's lying there.
Interpreters are all set, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
Very many. I had to take concluded with.
Has the state concluded with Sergeant Ventresca?
Yes, Your Honor, we have.
Thank you. And which witness does the state intend to call this morning?
Your Honor, the state, for this morning, I have 2 lay witnesses who are homeowners who are going to discuss their video surveillance, and then Detective Matt Riley with respect to his processing of a Toyota Tacoma.
Thank you. We can bring the jury in, please. Would counsel stipulate, please?
State does, Your Honor. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. The state continues with its case.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state would call Jolynn Swanson to the stand.
If you could please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or solemnly and sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury?
I do.
Please state your name and spell it for the record.
Jolene Swanson, Joline Swanson.
Ms. Swanson, you may be seated.
Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Ms. Swanson, where do you reside?
At 1 Jefferson Crossing in Farmington.
What kind of property is 1 Jefferson Crossing?
Residential?
How long have you lived there?
Since 2015?
With respect to your property, do you have any video cameras or video surveillance equipment on your house?
Yes, we do.
Okay, how many and where are they located on your residence?
We have 2 Ring videos, doorbells, one placed at our mudroom door and one placed at our garage facing our driveway.
Now, Ms. Swanson, do you live on Jefferson Crossing? What is your address?
1 Jefferson Crossing.
What street address is across the street from you?
4 Jefferson Crossing.
Do you know who resides at 4 Jefferson Crossing or who resided at 4 Jefferson Crossing in 2019?
Fotis Doulos and Michelle Troconis.
And does your house is directly across the street?
It is directly across the street, yes.
At some point in May of 2019, did the Connecticut State Police stop at your house and speak to you?
Yes,
Did they request access to your video camera surveillance?
yes,
Did you provide that to them?
yes.
And with respect to your video surveillance, you indicated it's a Ring camera.
Correct.
Is it continuous or motion activated?
It is motion activated.
And the time, is it an accurate timestamp or is there a delay, either too fast or too slow?
To my knowledge, it is an accurate timestamp.
Your Honor, state would offer 90, if I may. May I inquire if you have any objection? Yes.
No objection.
States 90 admitted as a full exhibit.
Ms. Swanson, if you can, I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions. If you can take a look at the TV screen right behind you. Yes. Thank you. Okay. With respect to the police, when they came and stopped by the house, were they able to download any video?
They attempted to download video, yes, but from my understanding, they were not successful.
Why do you say that?
Because I was then asked at a later date to email the videos in question that they were asking for to try and download on that Monday. They asked me to resend them via email.
Did you do that?
Yes,
I'm actually going to show you, and did that time period encompass a couple of days?
it was from late on the 23rd through the 24th of May, 2019.
Okay. Now, I'm going to stop it there. If you could take a look behind you. Can you please explain or describe to the jury what we're looking at right now?
That is my mudroom Ring doorbell that faces my front yard. The road is Jefferson Crossing, and across the street is 4 Jefferson Crossing, their driveway, house, mailbox.
And you indicated your camera is motion activated. Is that because of the dog triggering the Ring camera?
Yes.
Okay. And the timestamp, if you can see down, I'm going to draw your attention to the bottom of the screen. It's underneath the black, it indicates the 5/24/2019. Do you see that?
I do.
And the next numbers indicated is 20:12:24 EDT. Is that the time for the video? Is that the timestamp displayed?
Yes.
Okay. And is that military time?
Yes.
Do you know what it is in?
I would have to do the math. I don't know it off the top of my
Does
head.
8:12 p.m. sound
Yes.
acceptable? Okay.
Yes.
And is there sound on your Ring camera?
There is sound.
Okay, I'm just going to play you one clip. Now, Ms. Swanson, the video clips that you sent to the police, were they like that in short clips throughout the day?
Yes.
And that's because it's motion activated?
Correct.
And by the way, just for the record, when I say 8:12, that's 8:12 in the evening, correct?
PM.
Okay, thank you. Now, you indicated you have a second camera angle
Correct.
where, if you could take a look at the screen behind you. And what are we looking at here?
That's my driveway, and part of the road of Jefferson Crossing, and part of 4 Jefferson Crossing's driveway.
If you wouldn't mind, ma'am, would you please step up to the screen and just point where 4 Jefferson Crossing appears on the screen?
This is 4 Jefferson Crossing.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. You can have a seat. And I'm not going to play it all the way through, but is that the other angle that your house shows the street for the camera angles that you gave to the police?
Yes.
And for the motion-activated clips, they were throughout the the evening of the 23rd through the 24th, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Nothing further. Thank you.
Good morning, Mrs. Swanson.
Morning.
Couple questions about the motion detectors.
Sure.
The one in the mudroom, that was the one with the golden retriever?
Correct.
You said it was motion activated,
Correct.
the sensor. When you say motion activated, was it activated because of some motion going on in front of your home?
It encompasses motion in front of my home and motion along the road, as well as motion across the street.
Okay, so if a car is going across the street, that will pick up on your motion sensor?
It has.
And if there is activity going on at 4 Jefferson, it will pick that up as well?
It has, yes.
It has, but will it always?
I don't know if I can answer that because I don't look at every single Ring video that's been sent to my phone.
So you don't know if there's activity going on at 4 Jefferson, whether or not your camera would pick it up?
It has in the past,
Okay,
yes.
but has always?
Objection.
It was just answered, sustained.
Thank you. Same thing for the mudroom, the front, the other video. That's motion as well?
Correct.
And same thing, it would pick up if there was activity going on at your house
Yes,
and in the street
correct.
and at 4 Jefferson?
Yes.
But you don't know if it would always pick up at 4 Jefferson because you didn't check it?
I don't watch the Ring camera continuously, so I would have to check certain dates and times to find out if motion has been picked up and recorded.
Did you do that?
I
Objection,
don't understand the
vague.
question, I apologize.
Did you check?
Well,
other
there's
dates?
an objection. The question was, did you do that? And that referred to, did you check the Ring video continuously over a certain period of time? That's how the court understood the question. And the objection is,
My objection was vague, but I would also add asked and answered at this point.
well, the witness has already said she does not watch the Ring video continuously to find out if movement is detected throughout the day, sustained.
So you haven't watched it regularly?
Objection.
Sustained.
You provided video to the police
Yes,
by email? You sent it over email?
yes,
For May 23rd
yes,
of 2019?
Yes.
And May 24th, 2019?
yes.
Did you provide video for the entire day of May 23rd, 2019?
No,
What time did the video that you provided for May 23rd, 2019, what time did that start?
I don't recall.
Do you know whether it was in the morning or the evening?
I don't recall when I started sending the video over, what time the stamp was. I do know that it encompassed part of the day of May 23rd, 2019, and all of the day of May 24th, 2019.
Did you provide any other days?
No,
Not May 22nd?
no.
Thank you, just one moment, please. When you sent the Ring doorbells by email, what were you asked to send over?
Ring video from May 23rd, 2019, and May 24th, 2019.
Was there a particular time in May 23rd that you were asked to send over, or was it just May 23rd?
I don't recall if there was a specific time that was asked for.
Thank you, I have no further questions.
Is there
Nothing from the
redirect?
state.
Swanson, you may step down.
And Mary Khalid, please. Thank you. Yes, you can let her go. Thank you. Ms. Khalid, if you- thank you.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or solemnly and sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury?
I do.
Please state your name and spell it for the record.
My name is Mary Khalid, M-A-R-Y, last name K-H-A-L-I-D.
Thank you.
May be seated. Thank you.
Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Ms. Khalid, where do you reside?
I reside at 77 Eli Road in Farmington, Connecticut.
Is that in any way close to Jefferson Crossing?
Yes, it is.
How far away is Jefferson Crossing?
Oh, maybe 3 houses left, and right across the street is Jefferson Crossing.
Do you have video surveillance equipment on your home?
I do.
Do you have any video surveillance equipment that captures the road of Eli Street?
Pardon me, could you
Do
repeat
you
that?
have any video surveillance that captures the surveillance or recording of the road Eli Street?
Yes, I do.
Where is that camera located?
It's located in our front entrance as you approach the house. It's on the left-hand side
Do you have a
of the gate.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a gate, and it's just posted right there on the brick wall.
Is it a continuous or motion-activated camera?
It's a continuous system that we have.
Is it one of these Ring cameras, or is it something that is hardwired to your house?
It's a hardwired camera.
Do you know in 2019 if your Ring camera was accurate? Or, I'm sorry, not Ring camera, if your camera system was accurate time-wise?
Yes, it was.
It was?
It is.
With respect to that time period, June of, late May, early June of 2019, did the Connecticut State Police stop by your house and ask to review that video system?
They did.
Do you recall when that was?
It was Memorial Day weekend.
Did you allow them to review the video system?
I certainly did.
And with respect to that review, did they ask to download video from your
Yes, they did.
residence? And did you allow them to do that as well?
I certainly did, yes.
Okay. Your Honor, state would offer 77 Eli, which is video, which is states 92.
No objection.
State 77, well, 92 rather, would be
92,
admitted
right.
as a full exhibit.
Thank you. By the way, just to be clear, your address is 77 Eli?
Yes.
Thank you. If you could just take a look at the screen behind you, ma'am. Now, does your video system have its own player embedded in the system?
Its own player?
Here, if I can, I'm going to play one clip. And do you see this time, 5/23/2019? Do you recall the dates that you allowed the police to view your camera system? Did it encompass 5/23/2019?
They did.
And do you know how long it went to?
Several hours. I mean, and then they came back. Another day, they came back as well.
They did,
They did,
several
to
hours to download the video?
It took several hours, and then we continued another day because it was late.
Okay, it was, what do you mean by that? Was it late at night?
Well, I mean,
They were there for a while?
they were there for a while. I mean, we had other things to do as well.
Okay. And here you go. Actually, I don't think that's. If you can, ma'am, just to take a look at the screen behind you. Do you recognize what's depicted there?
That's my front driveway.
Okay. Ed, you indicated the camera was on a gate.
It's facing Eli Road. That's Eli there.
Okay. And when you indicated that Jefferson Crossing was, I think you said 2 houses down and across the street, is it to the left of the
To the
screen?
left, and Jefferson Crossing is then to the right.
And the timestamp was accurate in May of 2019.
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay. Thank you very much. And we have the timestamp down here. And this says 5/23/2019 at about 7:30 in the morning. That's the clip the state is playing. That time is accurate?
Yes.
Okay. I have nothing further. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good morning, Ms. Cullen.
Good morning.
Couple questions just about your recording system. You had said it's a continuous recording system
Correct.
and has nothing to do with whether or not there's motion in front of your house
No,
or on the street?
it just continues,
Okay.
just keeps going.
And is there any kind of flash? Can it pick up when cars are moving in darkness?
That I don't know.
All right. If there's headlights on, have you ever watched your video?
I've never watched my video.
Are there any street lights right in front of your house?
There used to be one, but it got hit with a lightning. So I've never paid attention if it got put back up there.
Do you know when it got hit by lightning?
No.
How about lights on outside of your house in the front by the gate? Do you have lights on every night?
Yes, I do.
Is that an every night thing?
That's it.
Okay. And do you mind? I'm just gonna call up that photo that you just saw, the image,
Do you want,
if you can
It's a
easily.
screenshot from,
oh, yeah.
it's not,
this-
you want hers or
Or-
hers?
You want me to try? Your Honor, if I could just have a minute, it might be easier for me to
Yes.
do it.
I'm just gonna have you look at the image.
May I have a moment with counsel?
Yes.
Does it matter which one? Because, okay, because I just. No, it takes a while because the player.
May I have a moment with counsel?
That's fine. You want to do that?
What? Like a screenshot. Yeah, but wait, let me just do that, right? Your Honor, I'm just gonna put up a screenshot to save some time here. Oh,
Oh,
here it
I
is.
have. Here it is.
All right, that photo, that's right outside your gate,
Yes.
and the camera that's pointed towards the street, is that camera stationary?
Yes.
And up on the left side of this image, to the left, where that car just went, what's the cross street to the left?
This whole street
Yes.
is Eli Road.
Okay, this is Eli Road going, going to the left and right.
Yes, it's
When you
Eli.
go down, what is the next cross street?
Jefferson Crossing.
All right, thank you. I have no further questions.
Is there a redirect?
No, sir, thank you.
Ms. Holly, you may step down. Thank you.
Your Honor, the state would call Matt Riley back to the stand.
And Detective Riley is still under oath. Detective Riley, you may be seated. Thank you.
Your Honor.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Fine, ma'am. Thank you.
Just a couple more questions, Detective Riley. So briefly, since the last time you were with us last week, has anything changed with respect to your career, or you are retired from the Connecticut State Police?
Yes, still retired, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm going to go back to 2019 when you were working on the Western District Major Crime Band. You were assigned as the evidence officer for, I think you've testified to 69 wells, a few other properties, and a few other cars. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Did you continue in that role in a search of a Toyota Tacoma?
Yes.
When was that search conducted?
That was conducted on June the 11th of 2019
Where?
in the garage at Troop L, Litchfield.
Now, who was with you during that search?
It was our supervisor, Sergeant Joe Duva, detectives Frank McGavin, Mike Downs, Kyle Rapp, and Jamie Pearson.
Now, with respect to the search of the Toyota Tacoma that day, can you just describe that truck?
Yes, it was a older model pickup truck. It was an extended cab. It had a plain bed with a bed liner in it. There was no cover on the bed. And, it had the dings and dents of a 18-year-old truck.
With respect to the dings and dents of an 18-year-old truck, was it, can you describe I guess you could say, was it clean?
Yes, I mean, it was, it appeared to be very clean, for a 18-year-old truck. I remember that the armors, the tires even looked like they had been washed and armor-alled. I mean, it was,
Did the vehicle have any distinctive characteristics?
the characteristics I remember, it had a kind of a front, what looked like a plow mount attached to the underside of the front, and it had chrome running boards, and also, it had other seats from another vehicle were located in the front of the truck.
Okay, if we could start with the outside of the vehicle. You indicated there was a chrome, did you say running board?
Yes, or a step to get up into the cab.
Okay. Was that clean?
Yes.
Okay. With respect to the back of the cab, I think you said there was like a cover over it, or there wasn't a cover?
There
over
was
it?
no cover on the pickup truck bed.
Was there anything in the trunk of or the truck bay of the Toyota Tacoma?
Yes, there were two other automotive seats. They look like front seats from another vehicle.
And when you go inside the vehicle, you indicated it was a extended cab, I think the term you used. What does that mean?
Yeah, so it's not a full back seat. It's kind of a partial back seat. There's some flip-down benches on the side where they could provide seating for some additional passengers. Most of the time, those parts of the pickup trucks are used for storage.
How many doors were on the pickup truck?
There were two main doors, and I don't remember if the extended cab had those little half flip-out doors or not.
With respect to the driver's side seat and the passenger side seat, can you describe them, please?
Yes, they appeared to be from a Porsche, and they weren't affixed or bolted in any way to the floor of the pickup. They were just kind of sitting there. The driver's seat was kind of propped upright on like a small plastic bucket, something similar to something kitty litter or sand, or so that sort of size. The passenger side seat was just kind of leaned back.
Were either of those seats actually attached to the vehicle?
No.
Could you just lift them up and carry them off the car?
Yes. In fact, that's what we did.
I want to draw your attention to a time that you searched 585 Deer Cliff Road. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Particularly inside the garage of Deer Cliff Road, there was a vehicle inside that garage. Do you recall what vehicle that was?
Yes, it was some model of Porsche.
With respect to the inside of that vehicle, did it contain seats?
Not in the front. I remember the front seats were missing.
The seats that were in the Toyota Tacoma that day, what were they?
They were leather seats from a Porsche.
Your Honor, the state's going off state's 93. Detective Riley, I'm going to draw your attention to the screen in front of you. Is that on?
Yes.
If you could take a look, please.
Could I might be able to speed this up somewhat. May I have a moment with counsel?
Good.
Yes, and actually this one's not on. Yeah. I think I have the other.
Your Honor, I'll just note, I'm going to agree to, there are only a couple of pictures that I have anything to say about, so we might be able to move this faster.
I actually might need a moment, Your Honor. The disc I marked actually wasn't finished burning, so it actually doesn't have all the disc on it. So I might need one moment to
Certainly.
run downstairs and get the correct disc out of my office.
That's
So
fine.
if I can have that moment.
Yes.
I gave it to him. Yes. Maybe that's the one. We might have one. I think that's the, does yours have it as well?
I'm going to try mine.
Yeah, let me try yours.
As long as I get a new one.
If I can, Your Honor, I gave counsel a copy. Let me see if that one works as well. Yep, this one has it. Okay. If I can, Your Honor, I'll go off the one I gave counsel, and Attorney Moran will make a copy for counsel. Thank you. Your Honor, with respect to the pictures, I believe if we just approach the clerk
Yes.
and provide it. This would be a. Your Honor, there are 26 photographs contained in States 90. I believe we have an agreement for all except for 9 and 13. So when we get to those points, I will attempt to authenticate them for the court. But if that's okay with counsel, I'd like to just jump in.
So states 90 admitted as full except for photos 9 and 13.
Yes,
that correct?
exactly.
Okay. Okay, Detective Riley, if you could take a look at the screen behind you. Do you recognize what's depicted on that screen?
Yes, I do.
What is depicted?
That is the front end of the Toyota Tacoma that we processed on June the 11th and at Troop L in Litchfield.
If you wouldn't mind stepping up near the screen, sir. The front of the car or the truck on the bottom here, what is this?
That appeared to me to be a mount for a snowplow.
And there's, it looks like liquid or something on the bottom. What is that?
It looks like some sort of oil on our garage floor.
Did that come from the Toyota?
I can't say for sure, ma'am. I don't remember.
Okay. And with respect to the license plate here, 6617CN, was it clean?
Yes.
And picture 2, sir. Down here, do you see the cursor at the bottom middle of the photograph?
Yes, that is what I described as a running board or step to help somebody get into the cab.
Could you describe the tires for me, please?
So the tires to me, I remember, looked in good condition, and they looked to be recently cleaned.
Picture 3. Sir, is this the same, I guess, running board or on this other side of the vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
And same thing with respect to the tires on this side, sir, if you could just describe them.
Yeah, that's kind of a better view of one of the tires. You can see the condition is pretty good. And not only the tires are clean, but also the rim itself.
And picture 4, please.
That is the back end of the Toyota Tacoma.
What's down here in the middle bottom part of the picture?
That's a trailer hitch, ma'am.
And this license plate, sir, was it clean as well?
Yes, it was.
Now, you could see the trunk of the vehicle. What is contained within that? And I'll show you picture 5.
Yes, that's the pickup truck bed, and these are the two other automotive car seats that we found in the bed,
Where did you find them just like that?
just like that.
And the one on the left, sir, has the, I guess, if you can just describe why it looks like that compared to the other.
So the seat cover on the seat had been removed, and the seizing investigators had advised, the crime scene team that this is the condition in which the seats were obtained
When they received it?
when they seized it. Correct.
Okay, you did not do that.
I did not.
And to your knowledge, no other state police officer did that?
No.
Okay. What did you do with these seats?
So these seats were removed and were also examined for any evidentiary value.
And what does that show, sir?
That's the underside of the seat that had the cover removed.
Now, with respect to the outside of the vehicle, did you take any swabbings or take any samples or anything from the exterior of the trunk?
From the outside of the vehicle, we took DNA swabbings from the front license plate screws in an effort to capture any latent DNA material that was there.
So I'm going to go back to picture 1, sir. If you could just point out on the screen where you took the swabbings.
Yes, from these two screws.
Why did you take those?
In an effort to, we learned that...
Objection.
Well, the question is, for what reason was the DNA swab taken for latent prints from the screws? And the response began, we learned that. The court is going to sustain the objection.
How did you take the swabbings from the screws, sir?
So we took 2 of those long-handled swabs that I mentioned before, moistened them with sterile water, and just swabbed the areas, and then later box and package those.
On that day, did you remove the license plate or remove the screws?
Not on the 11th.
Did you wear protective gear while
did.
you searched this car?
Yes.
What did you wear?
I wore a disposable gloves and a mask where necessary.
Did you take any swabbings from the door handles, all on the exterior of the vehicle?
No.
Why not?
The vehicle was relatively clean. If there was any linkage between this vehicle and our initial response, it's been 2 weeks since. So we didn't see a reason to.
When was the initial response again?
That was on the early morning of May 25th.
And what was the day that you processed this vehicle?
This is June the 11th.
Now, with respect to the interior of the vehicle, did you take any steps or take any swabbings of the interior of the vehicle?
Yes.
What did you do?
So we first visually inspected the inside of the vehicle for any trace material. We did find a blood-like stain kind of near the speaker grill of the left door, and we tested that with Castlemeyer reagents. Got a positive result.
Again, I'm going to object to this Castlemeyer and any other reagent. We've been through this before. It's going to have no evidentiary value as the case continues, and therefore it's confusing and irrelevant.
Well, the case law does not state that there's no evidentiary value. The case law states that there's no evidentiary value by itself. But in concert with other evidence, it may have probative value, so overruled.
Sir, what was the area that you utilized the KM test for?
This area right down here. You can see the material we were interested in. After doing that, we took another evidentiary sample of that stain.
The KM test is just a presumptive test.
It's just a presumptive test.
And you took a sample. Can you just walk through the process of taking the sample of that test? Did you mark it as an exhibit?
We did. So using the same two swab technique, moisten with sterile water. We swabbed the stain, collected the stain onto the sample, or onto the swab, and then boxed and packaged it.
Did you take any other action with respect to this car door?
Yes, further on in the processing, at the later phase of processing, we processed the inside of the door along with the inside of the rest of the car with luminol.
And briefly, again, could you explain what luminol is and what you used it for?
Again, Your Honor, same objection about luminol.
Overruled.
We use it as a search tool for latent blood.
And how did you use it this day?
So after mixing up the luminol and testing it on a known blood source, we sprayed it onto the door and looked for areas that luminesced.
Did you do that here?
Yes.
Did you take any photographs with respect to the process and or the results?
The photographers on the team that they did.
Were you present for that
Yes.
photograph?
Yes, I was there.
And did you do that on June 11th?
Yes.
Actually gonna shut the screen off right now if I can, sir, and have you take a look at the screen in front of you at the seat. Show you actually what's been marked as states 9 and then states 10. Do you recognize what's depicted in states 9?
Yes.
What is depicted in states 9?
That is a picture taken during the processing with the luminol.
And is that what it looked like after you processed it with luminol?
Yes.
Is it a fair and accurate representation of what what it looked like or what the results look like?
Yes.
State would offer 9. I would just, if I may, Your Honor, I know counsel indicated he had no objection for 10, but if I may ask a few questions on it prior to showing it to the jury. If I can,
So
Your Honor.
is 9 is offered?
9 is offered, but if I can just follow up with 10 for one moment, Your Honor.
So there's no objection to 9?
Yes, there is, Your Honor,
think
but
there is.
she hasn't offered it yet.
Oh,
I would offer it, I would just indicate counsel has had no objection to 10. However, if I may just inquire of Detective Riley, with respect to picture 10, what does 10 show?
That is a picture. It appears to be an overlay of the picture before, taken in the dark, overlaid with the picture taken under normal lighting.
So with respect to picture 10, are there the results of the luminol process conveyed on top of the picture of the door?
Yes.
Do you see the results of the luminol contained on picture 10 as well?
Yes, very faintly.
Okay, so picture 9 and 10 really are together. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I know counsel indicated he was okay with 10, but I do recognize it is in connection with the luminol, so I didn't want to show
Right.
it. So I would offer both of those together.
I'd like to voir dire briefly on this.
well, if there's an objection, for what reason is there voir dire?
Well, I want to clarify that, well, it's to clarify why why this should not be admissible.
Well, you can just make the objection.
Well, the objection is that, like I said before about the relevance, but more importantly, this was tested and it's not blood. So therefore, I'm saying it was sent to the lab and it is not blood. It wasn't even organic. So it's misleading. It's going to be confusing to the jury. And I've already indicated why I thought these kind of presumptive tests shouldn't come in at all. But this particular spray, the fact that it glowed, it was tested. It had nothing to do with the case. It wasn't organic. It wasn't blood. It was nothing. So therefore, putting it in is just is confusing, and it has nothing to do with the case. So it's not just that it is not relevant, but the jury is hearing this testimony about something that has nothing that will prove to be completely irrelevant to the case.
So the first component of the argument is not relevant. The second component was essentially cross-examination. So on relevance, again, the code states that relevant evidence is evidence that has any tendency to show that a material fact is more likely or less likely to exist than it would be without that evidence. Any tendency.
And I note, Your Honor, that under the code 4-3, there would be either no or such a slight, and it has to deal with what the charges are against Ms. Troconis. And if, as I said, if it turns out, when we get to that point, that this was tested and it had no value, then it doesn't have even, in my view, a modicum of purpose other than confusing and, has no bearing on the case. And therefore, I ask the court to exercise its discretion to not allow in these pictures. We've heard the testimony over objection, but the pictures have nothing to do with it. We have 500 pictures in already, and I submit that there is no probative value to the fact that there was a place on the vehicle that glowed, especially in light of the previous testimony Your Honors heard about rust being one of those items, and there's other cleaning products and food and whatnot that also glows under a blue light. So,
Well, as the court understands the
black
case,
light.
as the court understands the case law, by itself, the presumptive test has no probative value. However, the probative value can be determined under circumstances of the investigation, including the search and seizure of the truck and the reasons for the search and seizure of the truck. The case law states also color, the pattern, and other factors can be considered in determining whether a screening test is probative. So if there's that objection, relevance, that is overruled.
That would be 9 and 10, then, Your Honor.
9 and 10 admitted as full exhibits.
Thank you. I'm actually going to start with 10, sir. If you can, take a look behind you. Actually, would you mind going back, standing next to the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you indicated previously you took a sample from around the speaker area. Is that depicted on this picture?
Yes, this is that area right there.
If I can, and did you mark it as an exhibit?
I did, exhibit 203.
Thank you. And with respect to this picture or this photograph of the door, did you utilize that luminol process on this door?
Yes,
And is the results shown on picture 10?
yes.
Okay, if you can, sir, could you direct the jury's attention to those results?
So the areas that are visible the most are these darker areas here. You can see this bluish glow. You can see other areas of the luminescence, this area.
To be clear, what did you utilize the luminol for again?
It was just a search tool that we used for an attempt to find latent blood.
Did you
Again,
also?
I'll just object for the record. I don't need to expound on it. I just want the record to reflect my view on it.
Thank you.
Did you take further samples of that door?
Yes, I did.
What areas did you take samples of?
This area right in here, and again, up on top in this general area.
Why did you take a sample up here on top?
Again, just based upon the results of the luminol test.
So I'm going to direct your attention to photograph 9. What does that show?
Okay, that is a photograph taken during the processing with luminol, taken in the dark as we're viewing it. You can see without the glare, you can see the side view mirror here. And go to the door to kind of give you reference, and then you can see the areas that are luminesced.
And I'm going to show you picture 8, please. Now, you indicated you took further samples. With respect to 205, sir,
Correct.
what did you do with that?
So this material here, we further field tested with the Castlemeyer reagents. We did not obtain a positive result with this. However, we nonetheless took evidentiary samples.
By samples, do you mean the same, did you utilize the same process that you've been discussing, the
Correct.
swabbings?
The
or-
2 swabs.
Okay. And 204?
Same process. We tested this area with Castlemeyer reagents, obtained a negative test, but still we obtained evidentiary samples with 2 swabs.
Picture 11, sir, what does that show?
That is those 2 seats from a Porsche that we found in the front of the pickup truck.
Photograph, I guess, 11A.
Just another view of the front passenger compartment. You can see there's that plastic bucket that was propping up the driver's seat.
Was it attached in any way to the floorboard?
No, they were loose in the cab.
Sir, I'm going to have you take a seat if you can. With respect to photographs 12 and 13, if you could take a look at them on. Sir, do you recognize what's depicted in photograph 12?
Yes, that's the interior side of the right door, or passenger side door.
Now, with respect to the interior side of the passenger door, did you take any samples?
Not initially, however, we processed this along with the rest of the interior of the truck with the luminol.
Did you obtain a result?
We took an evidentiary sample from this door.
Did you utilize the same process with respect to the luminol that you discussed before? You sprayed it and mixed it?
Correct.
By the way, did you test the luminol prior to utilizing it that day?
On a known blood source, yes, ma'am.
Photograph 13,
That is taken during the luminol test.
based on this result or this photograph, did you take any further samples of the right passenger door?
I took one evidentiary sample from this door.
Does photographs 12 and 13 in particular fairly inaccurately display what the car door looked like after the use of the luminol?
Yes.
State would offer it, Your Honor.
Just the same objection. I think my previous argument, I just incorporated the Moody case and the things that I said. Again, this will not establish and prove to be any blood, DNA, or anything relevant to this case.
Oh.
So.
It's overruled.
I would move those pictures in, please.
Page 13 admitted as a full exhibit.
Thank you. Sir, photograph 12, what does that depict?
That is a picture of the passenger side door, the interior side of the pickup truck.
By the way, sir, how would you describe the doors and the carpet and the interior of the vehicle?
It was very clean for an 18-year-old truck.
Photograph 13,
That was taken after processing the inside of the door with luminol.
and photograph 14.
That is an area where we took an evidentiary sample from following the luminol test. We tested this prior with the Castlemeyer reagents, and it, again, did not test positive for blood.
This one did not test positive as well.
It did not.
Did you still take a evidentiary swabbing?
Yes.
Photograph 15.
That's a view of the front passenger compartment as seen through the passenger side door.
Was that front seat passenger car seat attached to the floorboard at all?
No, no, it was not.
The same question as before, you could lift it off and take it out?
Yes,
Did you lift it off and take it out?
we did.
16, what does that show?
That's after we lifted up the seat and took it out. That's the rear, kind of that extended cab portion I was talking about with the two jump seats.
Now, did you also process the 2 seats that were on the truck or the truck bay?
Yes.
Photograph 17, sir. Draw your attention to 202. What does that mean?
So that doesn't mark anything specific. That just denotes that those 2 seats were designated as Exhibit 202.
Did you take any action with respect to these 2 seats?
Yes, we examined them for any kind of trace material, blow-like stains, such as that. And then we processed it again with the spray luminol.
Based on the spray of the luminol, did you take any swabbings?
Yes, we did.
Where?
So on the seat, may I point it out?
If you can, please.
So on this seat here, with the seat cover intact, we found an area of interest in this general area.
Photograph 18.
Correct. This was after spraying the luminol. Again, we identified the area by circling it in dark color Sharpie. We took a further swab of this area, tested it with Castlemeyer reagent, obtained a positive result, and instead of actually swabbing the area, we just cut the seat cover and seized that piece with the stain.
What
No,
area?
my continuing objection, Your Honor.
Thank you.
I don't want to keep interrupting. It's the same issue.
Thank you.
What area did you cut off?
This area right here.
Did you denote that as Exhibit 207?
That was seized as 207, correct?
Did you also, you could have a seat, sir. Thank you. Did you also conduct an inventory search as well?
Yes.
Photograph 19. What is reflected on that picture?
Again, that is the contents of the inside of the vehicle taken during the inventory portion of processing.
Was this in the the yellow bucket, was this the bucket that the seat was propped up against?
That is the bucket, correct?
Was anything contained inside the bucket?
I don't believe so, ma'am.
20. What does this show, sir?
That's the contents from the center console of the vehicle.
Did you take any further samples of the vehicle that day?
I did not.
Did you have an opportunity to conduct a second search of the Toyota Tacoma?
Yes.
What day?
So on June 26th, we consulted with investigators at Troop G Bridgeport, and we came up with a plan to seize the license plates, the screws, and send those for examination.
Going back to photograph 1, sir, are you talking about the license plates on the Toyota Tacoma,
Yes,
as well as the screws themselves?
yes.
Previously, you had only taken swabbings of them. Did you seize the entire license plate itself?
Yes, so what we did is I unscrewed the license plate. We actually took swabbings from the threads of the screws in an effort to capture any kind of latent DNA. The screws and the plate were taken as one exhibit, the swabs as another. And then later, I processed the plate for latent fingerprints.
How did you process it for latent fingerprints?
So on July the 1st at our office at Troop L Litchfield, I processed it with superglue fumes and dry powders.
Were you able to obtain any discernible fingerprints?
No, ma'am.
Was that with respect to the front license plate as well as the back license plate?
Yes, both plates were seized in the same manner and examined for prints in the same manner.
Did you conduct a search of the Toyota Tacoma on a third day?
Yes,
When was that?
that was on August 27th.
What was the purpose of that search?
We were assigned by my supervisor to go in and seize the entire door panel from the passenger side door, as well as cut out the carpet from the front passenger area of the vehicle.
Did you do that?
Yes, I did.
Show you 21. What does that show, sir?
That's the area following processing after we removed the door panel and the carpet.
Photograph 22.
That was taken prior to packaging. That's the interior door panel that we seized as Exhibit 363.
And photograph 23.
Again, that's after we had removed the carpet.
Now, sir, I'm going to draw your attention back to May 25th, 2019. I believe you testified you went to Lapham Road that day.
Yes,
And did you take the photographs of the Chevy Suburban?
I did.
If I may just have one moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
Sir, do you remember, let me show you what's been marked as picture 24. Do you remember the photograph behind you,
Yes,
or the map, I should say?
yes, ma'am.
If you could please stand up and point to where you found that vehicle.
We found that Chevy Suburban in this general area here.
Which direction was the vehicle facing?
The vehicle was facing south towards the Merritt Parkway.
Photograph 25, is that the vehicle in question?
Yes, ma'am.
And photograph 26.
Yes, so here is the southbound lane. There's the bridge over the Merritt. And as you can see, the vehicle is parked in kind of like a little dirt pullout off of the southbound shoulder.
On May 25th, did you walk that area where the vehicle is parked?
This general area here, yes.
Okay, are there different cutouts along that side of Lapham Road?
Yes. They appeared to me to be used for Waveney Park, parking for Waveney Park.
Which side of the street was Waveney Park?
It'll be off of the left-hand side of the frame.
Where this vehicle is parked in this is photograph 26, is there a cutout or a place for another vehicle to park in front of that vehicle?
Yes.
Is there a cutoff and a place for a vehicle to park behind that vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. I can, sir. Your Honor, at this point, the state's intention is to play 89, which is the school bus video. I would make the same request I made yesterday with respect to the cameras.
Thank you. The school bus video, essentially, there are a few cameras on the school bus. Some are external cameras, some are interior cameras. With the interior cameras, the images of children are captured and those children can be readily identified. So we would ask both the still photographer and the videographer to not capture the images of the exhibit, which is now states 89 as a full exhibit.
Thank you. You can have a seat, sir. Going to play, I believe, is I'm going to draw your attention to camera 3 over here, sir. Just, do you recognize that area depicted?
Yes.
Okay. I'm actually going to play, I think it's 757. Do you see that vehicle parked on the left of the camera 3?
Yes, ma'am.
Viewpoint? Is that one of the cutouts of Lapham Road?
Yes.
Is that an area that you were at on May 25th, 2019?
Yes.
Where the Chevy Suburban was?
Yes.
With respect to the Chevy Suburban and this vehicle, what direction are they in relation to each other?
So they would be facing each other. So this red-colored vehicle is facing northbound, and the Chevy Suburban was facing southbound.
Were they parked in the same cutoff?
No, ma'am.
Do you see or could you recognize on this little clip, the cutoff that the Chevy Suburban was on?
No, not specifically, ma'am. It would have been farther north.
Okay. Within that same area?
Correct, the same general area.
So if the Chevy Suburban was facing the Merritt Parkway, would that red truck be in front of it or behind it?
Yeah, I'm going to object. The witness wasn't there, didn't see it.
Good counsel,
Speculation.
counsel speculation,
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
sustained.
Thank you.
This is probably an appropriate time to take the morning recess. We will take the morning recess until 11:30. Ladies and gentlemen, please do not discuss the case.
All rise. This honorable school courthouse in recess until 11:30.
I put the disc in there. Yeah, I just don't know how to do anything.
There they are.
And you'll just tell me which number. Right, and I'll click, okay.
We can bring the jury out, please. Would counsel stipulate, please?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning again, Mr. Riley.
Morning, sir.
And since our break, you're still retired?
Still retired, sir.
Let me start by asking you about the Tacoma truck, okay? The first time you saw that truck was at the State Police headquarters in Litchfield, correct?
That's correct.
It was in a bay, or was it out in a parking lot?
No, it was in a bay, sir.
You went there and someone else was taking pictures, or were those pictures we saw already taken when you were there?
Those pictures were taken as part of the processing by the team I was on.
All right, well, let me ask you about a couple of them. Let's start with number one. All right, and the license plate that was on this vehicle here, is this the picture that you removed the plates from?
No, they were removed on a later date.
Did you do the removing, though?
Yes.
So if I zoom in a little closer on the license plate, this is a combination plate, right? It's got it's got some numbers, and it's got the letter CN and then the word COMB, or at least the letter COMB down the side, right?
Yes.
And for the benefit of those that don't know what that means, a combination plate is specific for a person who uses a vehicle both in combination as a personal vehicle and as a commercial business vehicle, correct?
Correct.
And it's a different color than your average passenger vehicle, correct?
It used to be.
Yeah, so it was bright white that we see here, right?
I think it was a standard Connecticut color license plate.
You think it's a standard license plate? It's not the different darker blue as seen in this video, in this this exhibit here, number one?
No, I think the flash just kind of whited out the license plate there, sir.
Okay, but in any event, all combination plates ended with CN and had those words COMB, or issued by the Department of Motor Vehicles of Connecticut, right?
Not necessarily, sir. They do have the COMB. Usually, they have some sort of C in the license plate, but the letters differ. There could be vanity combination plates, such things as that.
Let me ask it a different way. Was this a legal license plate on this vehicle at that time?
Objection.
Well, the question is, was this a legal license plate? That question is beyond the scope of the direct. Sustained.
Let me show you Exhibit 4. Your Honor, I'll just note this was just burned, this disc, and so I don't know if there's an issue with it. Let me just try myself here one more time.
May I offer one? I know the exhibit works.
It opened eventually, I'm sorry. In any event, this is the rear license plate of the same vehicle that you observed when you were taking swabs and whatnot.
Yes,
Is that the license plate that was removed from this vehicle later on?
yes, it was.
Did you do the actual removing of the license plates?
Yes.
So if I zoom in again on this, we talked about the screws. If we can just zoom in a little more on the plate itself. I don't have my usual AV person, so. There weren't 4 bolts, were there?
Not present, no.
There were 2 bolts on the top, as I understand it, correct?
Yes.
Is that also true in the front? We can go back to that picture, but is that also true?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And I want to show you now photo 3. And one more.
Let's come up quick. Here you go.
Oh, good. Right. And if you would just zoom in on the front portion of the vehicle. All right. You see that there's some drips on the ground below this vehicle? You see that?
Yes, sir.
You observed that was actually dripping from this Tacoma, isn't that right?
I don't remember an oil leak, sir.
You don't recall that the truck was in fact leaking oil and or steering fluid at the time?
Objection.
Well, the testimony on direct examination, as the court recalls it, was that this witness did not know whether the oil leaked from the vehicle, but did testify that there was oil on the garage floor. So, again, this witness, as the court recalls it, did not testify that the oil leaked from this vehicle.
And that's why I'm asking him the question, whether it was leaking from this vehicle.
Well, the court's going to allow that question, was the oil leaking from this vehicle? That involves this witness's personal perception at the time.
I don't remember, sir.
Okay. You were a participant, though, in having this vehicle literally stripped down, right?
Yes.
And did you look under the vehicle as well?
I did not.
Do you recall it being at one point while you were there up on a hoist?
No.
So you were just looking at it as it was sitting there on the garage bay floor, right?
Yes.
Do you recall that there were oil drips on the ground as you stood there on this side of the vehicle? Below it?
I can see them in the photo, yes.
Do you recall that at the time?
I didn't make note of it, sir.
You did not?
No.
Okay. So I also want to ask you a couple of questions about the, what was in the flatbed of this pickup truck. Could you go to pictures 5 and then 6? Start with 5. You testified that these seats were in the back of the truck when you arrived at the Litchfield Barracks to look at the truck, correct?
Yes.
But you know they weren't, that's not where your colleagues found them, right?
That's what I was told, yes.
You were told that somebody put, one of the police colleagues of yours put them in the truck, correct?
Yes.
You didn't do that yourself. So the fact that there's pictures of these seats in the back of the truck wasn't necessarily how they were found, right?
This is just how I found them.
Okay. And it wasn't how the truck was found when it was seized, right?
That I don't know, sir.
Do you remember when this truck was taken by the state police?
No, sir.
It was taken from Mr. Gumieni, correct?
Objection.
Well, the question was, do you remember when this truck was taken by the state police? The answer, no. And the next question, it was taken from Mr. Gumieni. Well, the witness has testified that he does not know when it was taken. The question now is from whom it was taken. But, well, the truck was seized. So the question is, was it taken from Mr. Gumieni? So if this witness knows, then the witness can answer. The witness can answer if the witness does not know, overruled.
I do not know if he was present during the seizure.
But you, as the evidentiary detective, would have to keep track of where something came from and where it went, right?
That will be documented by others' reports, as far as the seizure and how it actually got to the barracks. Once it gets to the barracks and we're done with processing, then I know where the vehicle goes.
All right, where it goes after, but isn't it part of your job to keep track of where it came from? That you, at one point, had something to do with it, and then it went someplace else? Isn't that part of your job?
No,
It is not?
no.
Okay, fair enough. So in any event, if you would go now to number 17, please. Photograph 17. Now, the state describes these as Tacoma seats, but you inspected these seats, right?
Yes.
They weren't actually Tacoma seats, were they?
No.
They were Ford Motor Company seats, weren't they?
Yes.
So does Ford own Toyota, to your knowledge?
I don't know that, sir.
Okay. But in any event, you did not believe that these two seats originally came from that Toyota. They were not original seats as far as you knew, correct?
Objection.
Well, the question is, essentially, you knew that these seats were not original seats to the Tacoma. And the objection is,
I believe the way counsel phrased it was, do you believe that these seats were originally from the Tacoma? Your Honor, so the states would be relevance as to what Detective Riley believes and cause for speculation.
well, the objection is relevant, sustained.
Your Honor, I'll note that the state has labeled this Tacoma seats. It's up on the screen. And therefore, I'm trying to elicit the fact that these are not actually Tacoma seats.
Your Honor, if I can, it's the state's label with respect to organizing the file. That is not what was offered as an exhibit. What is offered as an exhibit is the actual photograph, not the state's numbering system or labeling system.
The witness has testified that he was involved in the processing. What he believes about where the seats came from is beyond the scope and not relevant. Sustained.
In any event, by inspecting these seats, you could tell from what was on them that they were from the Ford Motor Company, correct?
Yes.
I take it from your testimony before the break that you were going over this entire vehicle almost inch by inch. I don't want to exaggerate, but based on these photographs we saw, isn't that a fair assessment of what you did with this vehicle?
Yes.
You pulled out the door, interior of the door, correct?
At a later date.
Well, I'm including at a
Right.
later date. So,
Correct.
well, let me get that straight. How long was this truck in your possession that you were doing something on it?
From June the 11th, when we initially started it, to August 27th.
And it was at least after that date before, was it ever returned to Mr. Gumieni?
No, sir.
It was not. Okay. And then, according to your testimony, you actually physically removed the doors from this vehicle, correct?
The inside panel of one door.
Right. And I think we looked at that. If you put on number 21, please. So in this picture, we actually see the interior paneling removed, correct?
Yes.
And then the flooring has been removed as well, correct?
The carpet, correct.
Okay. And then there is picture 20 shows the contents of this vehicle that was taken out of it, right?
Yes.
We see what looks like one of those energy drink cans there, right?
Yes, sir.
Some pens, right?
Yes.
Correct?
Correct.
Keys,
Yes, sir.
Some kind of a, could you zoom in a little more? I want to see what some of these things are. Is that like a, was that an alligator clip on a chain there on the left side? Lower bottom? Lower bottom.
Could you move, yeah, lower left? Yeah, I don't remember what that is, sir.
Okay, but, and then we see some colorful, they look like some kind of maybe battery fuses or some kind of a little electronic things of blue, red, green. You see all those things?
Those are automotive fuses.
Automotive fuses. Okay. Did you at least examine each and everything? I don't need to go through everything that's on this picture here, but did you examine each and every item to make sure there wasn't something that you thought was worth your seizing?
That's correct.
Did you look at the business cards that were in there as well?
Yes.
Okay. Then I noticed in one picture, maybe it's, 23, if you could pull up 23, please. This is a view that after the seat was removed, the carpeting was removed, correct?
Correct.
There is some kind of chain in the back of this image here. You see that on number
Yes.
23?
Yes, sir.
Those tire chains?
I don't remember, sir. They don't appear to be tire chains.
Did you examine the chains to see whether they had any evidentiary significance that you might need to seize or swipe back?
The chains were looked at. No evidentiary value was found, and they were just noted on the inventory.
All right, and we see there's some, if you go zoom in a little bit on the chains, there's some rust on there. These reddish brown, you see there's reddish brown staining on it?
Yes.
And was that some kind of blood-like stain?
Did not appear to be.
Seemed like rust to you, didn't it?
To me, yes.
Okay, and there may even be, if you look closely on the floor bed of this vehicle, there may be some rusty things where there's some holes. You see where there's some holes where screws and bolts have been removed? You see that?
Yes, sir.
If you zoom in even closer on that, in this picture, looks like there's a lot of rust around there too, right?
That's fair.
And we see all this, what looks like a darkened, stained, maybe wet area on the floor bed of this side of the truck, the passenger side, after the seats and the carpet has been removed. You see what I'm referring to here?
Yes.
And in fact, in the indents and the depressions, it's even brownish within the red paint. You see that?
Yes.
Did you take swipes of that as well?
No.
So you looked at it and determined that these stains did not have any evidentiary value, correct?
Yes.
You did say that you did some swabbing of the license plates, correct?
Yes.
You also did fingerprinting to see if there were any fingerprints on these license plates, right?
Correct.
And your results were negative for fingerprints, right?
That is correct.
And you checked even the bolts that the license plate were held onto the vehicle by, right?
Yes.
I take it that a license plate bolt is large enough so it could capture a fingerprint impression if somebody used a finger to either tighten it or loosen it, right?
Not the bolt itself, sir.
All right. The front face of the bolt?
I don't believe so, sir.
So what part of the bolt were you testing for fingerprints?
Oh, not for fingerprints, for DNA, sir.
Oh, okay. So I didn't get to swabbing for DNA. I was talking about fingerprints. Did you dust the bolts for fingerprints?
No, not the bolt, sir.
Okay. The bolts, though, you did swab for DNA, right?
That's correct.
And that would be maybe for, what, touch DNA, for skin cells, for people maybe manipulating the bolt?
Yes.
Same thing with the license plate. You use DNA swabbing, right?
No, the license plates, we just did fingerprints.
Okay. Even though, even if the truck had been in rain or had been washed, the back of the plate, someone might have grabbed, it could have had fingerprints, right? on it?
Well, that's why we were looking for fingerprints.
Yeah, oh, on it, okay. Now, there was some testimony about spraying for luminol, using luminol to spray for things that glowed, right?
Yes.
And you took that, you wiped in the places that glowed, right?
Yes.
And you were the one then who would have these items submitted to the lab, correct?
Me or another, our evidence officer.
Right. When you say the other evidence officer, I thought you were the evidence officer on this investigation.
No, for the major crime squad in general, the person who, kind of the curator of the evidence room.
Right. Because isn't there a list of all the items and that they ended up, that somebody had to attribute where it came from and where it went, right?
Yes.
At all times, right?
Yes.
So that it didn't get contaminated by third parties, right?
Yes.
And you knew that they found no evidence of blood on any of those swabs out of this truck, correct?
I don't know that for sure, sir.
You know that in the areas where you swabbed for luminol and submitted it, there was no evidence of blood detected at the lab, correct?
Objection.
Well, the first question, to the first question, the witness said he had no knowledge of that. This is just the second car of the train. And the anticipated answer is he had no knowledge of any testing that was posed by the question, the results of the testing. So the court will allow the question overruled.
So I'm not positive what the results were for the swabs from the areas that tested positive with the Castlemeyer.
Okay, so then I'll just ask you the general question. Did anything about the swabs themselves lead specifically to some additional action or investigation on your part?
On my part?
Yes.
No, sir.
Okay. I just have a moment. And since I've asked these questions before, I just want to get clarification. You already have acknowledged that that luminol is just one of these presumptive tests that you use, correct?
Yes.
There are lots of things that that glow when you spray luminol on that besides blood, correct?
That's correct.
And even Castlemeyer, it could even test for animal blood, right?
Yes.
And there are even certain vegetation and other items that also glow, correct?
Yes.
So when you talk about using these techniques that was it you that testified you buy this, you get this through a forensic store or lab or something? Was that you that testified to that previously?
Just the luminol.
Okay, you buy it, right?
Yes.
And then you use it. It's sort of a place where you start, it gives you at least a pinpoint of where to start swabbing, right?
That's correct.
You said that you seized the entire door panel. You shipped that to, or took it to the state lab, correct?
Yes, it was sent to the lab.
And the door and the seats themselves that were the Ford seats that we've seen pictures of, they were also taken to the laboratory down in Meriden, the state forensic lab, correct?
I'm not aware that happened, sir.
The swabs were, however, correct? Were sent there?
You mean the cutting, sir?
The cuttings, yes.
Yeah, the one cutting we took from the seat was sent to the lab.
And you took the cutting, I think we can take the picture down for now. The cutting came from the fabric of the seat or the seat cover?
The seat cover.
And it was based on an area that you said had a stain on it, right?
Yes.
Were you told the results of the whether or not that cutting contained blood by the lab?
Yes, I'm aware that it did contain blood.
In fact, it came back negative for blood, didn't it?
I was told it was blood.
By whom? By the lab people?
I remember on a lab report.
All right, well, we will be having the lab person, so if the lab report and the lab person, I just want to be clear, disagree with your memory, would you be willing to concede you might be in error?
I would defer to the lab.
Okay, all right, fair enough. I also wanted to ask you about those seats again. You had some communications with the lab people about those seats, correct?
Yes,
In writing, right? Back and forth.
by email, yes.
Email, well, email, right? I'm using a term writing. I don't know if anybody writes anymore. Typing, okay. But in any event, there were electronic communications back and forth, right?
Yes.
And you were asked by the lab, do you know which seat was which of these two Ford seats? correct?
Objection.
Ground.
Now we're outside the scope of direct, Your Honor. There also
Well-
calls for hearsay.
Well, at this
Question
point,
is not here.
well, at this point, communications with the lab appear to this court to be outside of the scope of the direct. Whether this witness received a lab report is in evidence. But what was communicated from the lab in those reports to this witness appears to be outside of the scope,
All right, I'll ask a different
so
question.
sustained.
When you looked at these seats, right? You looked at them
Yes,
and you examined them, right?
correct.
You did not know which one was the driver's side or the passenger side, isn't that true?
That's correct.
Because they were just in the back of a flatbed of a pickup truck when you saw them, right?
That's correct.
And unlike maybe shoes, one didn't get marked left side or right side, correct?
Because I don't know how they were mounted if they were in the truck.
Well, that's why I asked if they were, whether you knew whether they were original Toyota Ford motor seats or not. So you wouldn't have necessarily known how they were mounted, correct?
Objection, Your Honor. Asked and answered.
Well, the testimony is that the seats in the bed of the truck presumably were Ford Motor Company seats. And now to ask this witness about in what way they were mounted when there was no evidence that they had been mounted does not seem to be relevant.
My question is, he did not know how they'd been mounted, not, I didn't ask him how they were, but the fact he didn't know how.
Well, again, that's, in this court's view, not relevant, sustained.
There was nothing on the seats themselves that indicated that one was the driver's side seat, correct?
We had no evidence on how they were mounted in a vehicle.
Okay. And I just want to be clear, you yourself didn't do any confirmatory tests to make sure or determine whether any of the stains that you observed in this vehicle were blood, correct?
That's correct.
I want to now ask you a few questions about your testimony about Lapham Road. You were asked questions by Ms. Manning about your being down there and the vehicles, correct?
Yes.
Can we pull up, I guess, 24, then 25, and then 26? All right, if you could zoom in a little bit, please. And just pull it up the other way, yeah. So, no, could you pull it up a little so we see the Merritt Parkway? Thank you. All right. So that's what I was going to ask you. You're aware that and I'll use the cursor for this myself. You're aware that when you testified about the Merritt Parkway, this is the Merritt Parkway traveling along here towards the bottom of this screen, correct?
That's correct.
And you testified that Waveney Park was up this way to the right side of Lapham Road, correct?
Yes.
And that on the left side, this was except for where there was, were you aware that there were these giant mulch piles that the town of New Canaan keeps there and spreads out in that spot there? Did you notice that while you were there?
Not while I was there.
Okay. Are you even aware that that's what that is?
Not when I was there.
Okay. Or mulch piles or whatever?
I learned that later.
Okay, so, and then this is all woods on this side of the road, an undeveloped part of town land, correct?
Yes. It was
And it borders to this side the Metro North commuter rail line, correct? That this is the edge of that wooded area, correct?
Yes.
And that you knew that right here, just below the Merritt Parkway, there is a trestle bridge, if you want to call it that. It's a railroad overpass over the Merritt Parkway, right?
Yeah, that's what it appears to be, sir.
And you're also then aware, I assume, that just below that is the Talmadge Hill
Objection.
train station, correct?
Objection. Relevance of where the train station outside the scope of direct.
He showed the map, Your Honor, she showed the map to this witness, so I'm just inquiring about other items in that.
Well, the universe of this witness's testimony is processing the Tacoma. What this witness has said about Lapham Road does not contemplate all of the surrounding areas, so it's outside of the scope. Just saying.
I'm showing you now, I moved it ahead to exhibit, or to photo 25 within the state's exhibit. You see that there now? I believe this is exhibit 89? So is this 89 for the record?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Is it the
I don't want to
same
be
disc?
misspeaking since I was just given a copy, so I just want to,
Well, 89 is the CD video clips from the school.
oh, so it would be today. Let me just,
It has to be either.
it's none of those.
No,
93?
it might be the last one.
Oh.
I haven't.
It's on council's desk, Your Honor.
It's right there in the corner of your desk.
Sorry.
Oh, got it. 93. Turned upside down, sorry. So you testified, as I understand it, that you were at Lapham Road on, you said May 25th, 2019?
Yes, sir.
And you observed that Chevy Suburban parked on the side of the road, correct?
Yes.
You were just also shown, as I understand it, before the break, a school bus video that showed a pickup truck parked on the side of a road in the turnout, right?
Yes.
Now, as I understand your testimony, you were at that location, right?
Yes, I was.
You saw that there was more than one turnout, right?
Yes.
Did you look at any of those turnouts, or were you looking at the vehicle while you were out there?
I was mainly concentrating on the vehicle.
But you know, based on that bus video, that there was another turnout in that video that was, what, on the other side of the road?
On the northbound shoulder?
Okay,
Like-
can we go back to the map for a second? 24, please. '24, please. All right, so if you could just zoom in a little more and move it up, please. All right. in this satellite view, which you can see cars on, could you zoom it out just a little, please? You can see a vehicle, for example, on the bridge of the overpass over the Merritt Parkway. Do you see that?
Yes,
And you can see some of the cars on the Merritt Parkway in this picture 24 when zoomed in, correct?
yes.
But on the other hand, are you able to identify by going to that screen behind you where the turnout exactly was where you saw that Suburban? Are you able to do so? If not, you can, I don't have to make you get up then.
No, I can.
Okay. Is it in this zoomed in, or do you need me to zoom out a bit?
Zoom out a little bit more, please, sir.
Ah, okay. A little more?
A little bit more.
Okay.
So I remember it to be somewhere in this location.
Could you,
Up around the L and Lapham.
near the L in the word Lapham?
Yes, somewhere up in this area here.
All right. And could you also, and you say that the Suburban was pointing towards the Merritt Parkway, correct, or
Yes.
away?
It was pointing south.
South. And just so that we're oriented again, the word Lapham Road that we see in photo 24, the letter D in the word road is at the south end of the two words Lapham Road, correct?
Yes.
Could you also point out the turnout where you claim, you say that school bus showed a truck parked?
It appeared to be down in this area here. So in the abbreviation for road.
Near the D for road or the R for road?
I can't say for sure, but.
In that area?
General area.
Was it on the same side of the street as the Suburban, that
Yes.
turnout?
Yes, it was.
It was on the same side of the street?
Yes.
Okay. And that is so that we're clear, that is the opposite side of the street from the Waveney Park main recreation area, correct?
Yes.
Okay, you can have a seat. So that I'm also clear that, do you know what the distance was between the turnout where the Suburban was found and the turnout and parking area where you said that the bus video showed the pickup truck?
I do not.
So it's whatever the length is between the L in Lapham and the RD of road, right?
Approximations, yes, sir.
All right, so if there was a scale, we could use a ruler or something, but without doing that, you're not able to estimate the distance, right?
To get a ballpark distance, yes.
Okay, now, when we were looking at those bus videos, you also noticed there was traffic on Lapham Road, correct?
I don't specifically recall, sir.
You don't remember seeing other cars going by at that time of the morning?
I'd have to see it again, sir.
All right, well, I'm not going to do that now. But in any event, when you were inspecting the Chevy Suburban in that location, was that during the day or was that at night?
It was during the day.
Was the road blocked off for your investigation?
I think it was, sir.
So there was no traffic going at that time because New Canaan Police or others were rerouting traffic away from that area, correct?
I only remember it because we had parked our car directly in the center of the road, so.
So I take it from that answer that if you're parking in the middle of the road, it's
It's safe to do so.
safe to do so. You don't want people hitting your vehicle or hitting the officers doing their job, right?
Correct.
Okay. Just have a moment. As I also understand, so when you were examining, I'll ask you a couple more questions about the Tacoma. You're looking at the Tacoma, you testified, I understand, towards the end of your testimony that even if an area did not illuminate or glow from luminol, there were a few places you took swabs just to have them, right?
No, and the swabs that we took from the inside door panels of that Tacoma, those were areas that were positive with the luminol.
I believe you also said there were a few, you looked at some pictures, which was just the inside paneling. You said you took some swipes there, even though they didn't test positive. Isn't that correct?
Even though they didn't test positive with the Castlemeyer.
Right. And with regard to the Lapham Road Park, when you were there, it was Memorial Day weekend, correct?
Yes.
Did you notice the trails that went through the property there?
Just what can be seen from the road.
Did you notice there were some walking or hiking trails?
Yes, there were.
Did you notice any joggers in the area?
I didn't take notes, sir.
Any bicyclists in the area?
I don't remember, sir.
Or bike tracks? You notice any
Objection.
bicycle tracks?
Well, the question is, did you notice any of bicyclists, joggers, and what is the objection?
It's outside the scope of direct, Your Honor.
Well, it's not relevant. Sustained.
Did you notice whether there was any oil spots, fresh oil spots in any of the turnouts on the ground?
I didn't take note of any, sir.
And you didn't document them in any of that, right?
Objection.
Well, if you took no note of them, there would be no possibility of documenting them. Sustained.
Could I just have a moment, Your Honor?
Yeah.
I just want to clarify one thing. You are certain from the bus video you saw that the red pickup truck that was viewed in there was parked on the same side of Lapham Road as where you found the Suburban. Is that your testimony?
Yes.
You didn't see any vehicle parked there while you were down on that May 25th, did you?
No, just police vehicles.
Just police vehicles and the Chevy Suburban, right?
Yes.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Just briefly, if I may. Sir, do you recall Attorney Shohorn asking you some questions about going through the Toyota Tacoma? I think he used the phrase inch by inch. Do you remember that line of questioning?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When you were going through the interior of the Tacoma, particularly the carpet and the back seats and the floor, was it dirty?
No, ma'am, it was very clean.
Did you find rocks or, mud or anything on the floorboards in the front or the back of the vehicle?
No, like I said, it was extremely clean.
What about when you took the license plates, the screws, and you examined the license plates on the back and the front of the car? Were they dirty as well?
The fronts I remember being clean. I don't recall the back.
And with respect to those inventory pictures that counsel showed you, do you recall that line of questioning?
Yes.
Those items that were found in the inventory search, were they strewn about in the interior of the vehicle?
No, they were from, we lay them out as to what area of the vehicle they were found in. So in the overall photos, you can see the general condition of the vehicle and how the items were arranged.
Were they on the floor or the floorboards?
No, ma'am.
Were they in the center console?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what about the storage area in the back? Were items contained within there?
Yes, underneath the seats.
With respect to the bed of the truck, the empty truck, was there a lot of dirt and rocks and mud or anything contained within the bed of the truck?
No, ma'am.
The only thing contained in the truck was the seats that were there, correct?
Just the seats.
Would you characterize that area as cleaned as well?
Yes.
Nothing further, thank you.
I just have one question. Was that chain that I asked you about located in the spot where it's photographed?
I don't remember originally, sir. I would have to refer to either the overall photos or the inventory report.
Would somebody have moved it to that location to take a picture? In your presence?
It depends when during the search process this was done.
You don't recall?
I don't recall.
All right, nothing further.
Nothing further, thank you.
Detective Riley, you may step down.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. We finished a little earlier than expected. Our next witness will be here for 2 o'clock.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, a long lunch hour. So have a good lunch. Please do not talk about the case, and we plan to see you at 2 o'clock.
Can we stay on the record for 1 minute, Your Honor?
Yes. Until people sit.
Quick issue, because the court, when it comes again to the luminol and the K&M, it is my understanding that all of it came back as either no trace of blood or there was nothing to test that at all in the substance from this Tacoma truck and when it comes to blood. So the